Hello, everybody. Welcome to Silent Podcast, the place where everything but silent. I'm your host, Isaiah, back with bounce checks for our exit interview press. We have Kuzie here. Kuzie, how you doing?
Hi, how are you guys?
Good.
Good. So our first question for you. So your relationship with Ty evolved and changed a lot,
Yeah.
especially after putting Zach up. So why did your relationship change?
Our relationship changed because of that Zach move. I felt left out because we came in four of us, me, Zach, Santina, and Ty. And that first move, Santina won. And then they started not giving me information, or they kept me on the outskirts of the little alliance. So of course, I'm feeling a little defensive now, like, you guys don't think highly of me. Okay, fine. And then I think I just never made it back into that circle. So of course I'm like, no, there's something sneaky about Zach, and I need to take him out. And all of this has been happening, and he's controlling the game, and proudly so. I'm like, no, I need to show you that I'm also a player here. So I decided to take out Zach, and that's where the love-hate relationship between me and Ty started. And eventually, I'm glad it got back to the love part. But that's where the havoc started.
Cool. In your opinion, what do you think shifted in your relationship with Daniel and Anika over the last couple of weeks?
So I think it was when, I started, is that freaking yogurt that they were eating together at night? Listen, they would go and eat yogurt by themselves and make each other berries and yogurt in the mornings. And I could see that they had like a bit of a tighter relationship. And in a trio, there's always someone that feels like the third wheel. I immediately felt like it. So I knew that, there's something that's going on here that I'm not a part of. And then hearing Hope say Anika explicitly said that Daniel is my number one. And I'm like, but at this point, we shouldn't be choosing number ones unless, of course, there was already something happening. So I felt even more left out. So I'm like, you know what? I don't have a reason to protect these people anymore. They're now just a safety blanket for when I need it. And that's where the relationship changed.
Okay, in a perfect world, who would have been your final two with and why?
So in a perfect world, it would have been me and Ty for sure. Had I won, I would have taken Ty. Just because I always said it, in order to be the best, you need to beat the best. And I would have loved to stand at the final two and, be trembling and be like, I win this, but it would be an honorable loss had I lost. I did believe that I would win over him just because of, he's got game in terms of, he's great at competitions, but I've got a social game to back it, and I've won competitions too. So I think I had the edge over him. However, if I lost, I would have lost, honorably. Yeah, so I wanted to be seen with the best, and people having to discuss my game and, you'll give it praises, but that's not going to happen. But that would have been my, my choice of final two.
Okay, so Kuzie, how genuine was your final two with Renee?
Absolutely not genuine. I would not have. No, I would not have taken Renee, but I did want to see her in final four. The final four, for sure, the one that I was pitching, genuinely, I would have vouched and pushed for that. Final two with Renee, no. The only people that I could probably see myself in the final two or would choose specifically for final two is Santina and Ty.
Curious to know if there's anyone you place the blame on for your eviction.
I think the person to blame and only to blame is Renee. She's the one that put me up there. Everybody else had a choice to make from that, selection of who was better for them. I can sit here and be like, I'm disappointed in Daniel. I expected this, but at the same time, the person that put me on the block is Renee. So if there's anyone to blame, it's her. But also, I guess, myself, because I should have played harder in that POV, especially because I did think and see it coming. I should have played harder. So myself and Renee.
Okay. Now that you're on jury, what will you base your vote on when you're voting for the winner?
My vote, I'm giving my vote to somebody that has played unapologetically, played fearlessly, and played the game. Didn't get there by chance, didn't get there by flirting, didn't get there by being scared. Somebody that did somebody that was an all-rounder as well. I'm looking at social, I'm looking at, pulling themselves off the block and things like that. But if they didn't have a social game, for example, like Ty doesn't have a social game because nobody's at his side. Everything that he says, people don't believe. But he's been a monster and he's been a lone soldier. But for that, I would definitely give him my vote.
So now that you're on jury, what do you base your vote on when you're voting for a winner?
I'm basing my vote on, like, let's say, for example, it's not Ty, it's somebody else. I'm now looking at our relationship, me and that person. Did this person help me? Would this person have voted for me? Does this person actually deserve the win? Does this person represents the season fully? What does this person say about the season? What does the season say about this person? And I'm also looking at maybe what other people are saying. What are the other jurors saying? What are they thinking? Do they have information that I don't? What is this person pitching at the end? A lot goes into it. But if it's Ty, my vote is going with Ty.
Cool. How important do you feel that jury management is? And is there anyone in the house who might have received your vote if they'd managed the jury a little bit differently?
Jury management is extremely important because for me, because I didn't leave bitterly, but I left disappointed. And I left thinking, that these people are eliminating me because they're scared rather than prove themselves as a tough competitor too and face the challenge. Don't be afraid to face the challenge. And the only person that I know was willing to face the challenge and proved it was Ty. So everybody else, it would take a lot of, I need to listen to what's being said at that point and deliberate.
In your final speech before the vote, we heard you say that you thought strong players were highly regarded, but you were wrong. Can you tell us a little bit more about why you felt that way and who you were referring to when you mentioned people being, victims of their own choices?
So by strong players being viewed in high regard at this stage of the game, I was referring to, we started the season taking out threats. That's all people wanted to do, take out threats, myself included, to give yourself an advantage of getting far. We are at the far. We don't need to do that anymore. We need to keep people in the game that have played and deserve to be there. Everybody was saying this, but nobody acted on it. So I needed to put that back in people's minds. Like, look at what you're doing. You guys are all saying Queen Kuz is this, but you're taking me out. Why? And then also to the victim of your own choices. I was talking about myself. I was talking about myself because I'm a victim of my own choices. I chose Renee. She took me out. I chose Daniel and Danica. They chose each other. So I'm a victim of my own choices. And I was, giving them advice that, like, look, the people you choose, sometimes they're the ones that will let you down. So maybe try making a different choice this time because I'm a living example.
So with the information you currently have, who are you most and least likely to vote for the win?
Most likely, obviously, Ty. Least likely, Shanaya.
Gotcha.
Okay. Now, that's my favorite part of our interviews. I'm going to play a little game with you. So what we'll do is I'm going to name the remaining cast members that are currently in the house. Mm-hmm. And I want you to give me one word you would associate with them. And please feel free to elaborate. So the first name is Anika.
Loyalty. Anika, when I was HOH, she was loyalty in human form. She stood by me. She listened to everything that I had to say. I could bounce off this, thoughts off of her. And, she stood by me. She never wavered. She encouraged me. If I was being silly, she would tell me. If I wasn't being crazy, she would tell me, like, oh, she was loyal to the time that I needed her to be.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, now you're
Sorry.
No, it's okay. It happens. Okay, we'll go to Daniel C.
Oh, Daniel C. um, I would say soft-hearted. I think that even the way that it ended up being a fight, a lot of the things he didn't want to tell me is because he's a soft-hearted person. He also didn't want to hurt my feelings or make me think or confirm that like I'm third wheeling. So he couldn't tell me a lot of things, and he allowed me to go off on him. And all he could do was respond to what I'm saying, but not actually say his truth, because he's a soft-hearted person. He's a kind-hearted person too. So it's his soft heart that stands out for me most. But at the same time, it's what I didn't need him to have at that moment. I needed him to tell me truths and help me, let me work with that.
Okay. Claudia?
Claudia, questionable. I say questionable because she says one thing and does another. She will speak to me, and she's the one that actually brought up, wouldn't that be a nice Final Four? You, me, Renee, and Ty. And I ran with that, and I went with that, but leave her for 2 minutes. Her mind has changed. Talk to her again. She's on board. Leave her for 2 minutes. Her mind has changed. So it's just like, what do you stand for? And right now, I'm now thinking that should she end in the final two, do I even vote for her? Because I wasn't clear on what she stands for. She's been singing one song, but she does another.
Okay. Renee?
Renee, I would say she is trying. I see effort. I see somebody that wants to prove themselves. Even with this move, I think that she definitely wanted to prove herself, to redeem what people have been saying all season, or what she thinks that is out there in the public, this block star image, or like dead last, and how people have been referring to that and laughing. And she laughs along too, but she felt like she needed this moment to prove herself. And in some ways, she definitely did. To me, I think that it's half and half. I don't think she proved herself enough. To prove herself, to me, was to pull me off the block and work with the threats rather than count on that to make her a player, or to make her seen as a player.
Okay. Shanaya?
I want to be nice and say chancing. I don't want to say floating because I don't know what her game is like to her. It may be something I cannot see because I'm standing as me, and I'm standing in the eyes of, other people that are not working with her. I can't see what she's doing, but I don't want to call her a floater until I can actually see it for myself. I haven't watched the season back, but I do think that she's made it where she's made it by chance and by good, like aligning herself great and being able to hide behind those people to carry her to where she is now.
Okay. Lastly, Ty.
Ty is I would say a beast, fearless. He's unapologetic. He's fearless. He does things that irritate me most times. Sometimes he's very provocative in his words. He keeps tormenting me that, see, if Zach was here, if Santina was here, I told you, don't listen to me. But I see fearlessness in him. He's not afraid of anybody. He's not afraid of the block. He's a fearless player. He's an aggressive player. He said this. He stands in it firmly. And I can only respect it. Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, that's the end of our time, Kuzie. So thank you so much for talking to us. And have a good one.
Bye, Kuzie. Thank you.
Bye.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Silent Podcast, the place where everything but silent. I'm your host, Isaiah, and we are back with the Bounce Checks crew for an exit interview with Shanaya. Shanaya, how you doing today?
I'm good. I'm spiraling a little bit, trying to get over everything that happened, but I'm hanging in there.
All right, we have a couple questions for you, but so when you won the veto in week 6 and you received a lot of backlash regarding the possibility of using the veto, looking back, do you stand on that decision?
Hell yeah, I just stand by that decision. I know that ultimately this is the reason why Ty wanted me out of the house. But I was so proud of myself. I kept thinking about my family watching me in that position and how they would feel if I didn't use the veto, and I knew they would be disappointed. And that alone was reason enough for me to do it. It was very scary. I'm not going to pretend like I wasn't up there like sweating from every part of my body, but it's something that I stand by and I'm very proud of.
Awesome. We saw you tell Renee and Claudia that Renee should stay over you when Claudia had to choose between the both of you to go up as a replacement nominee. Why did you say that? And do you regret that choice?
I do and I don't regret it. I ultimately think had I said that, the outcome would, or had I not said that, the outcome would have been the same. The reason why I said that, I think in that moment, the intensity of that house is something that is undescribable. The intensity and the weight of that moment on top of sitting there watching Renee and Claudia bawl their eyes out. Something I struggled with a lot in the house was figuring out my game and its worth and how I fit into the house dynamics and what my journey meant and what my journey in the house represented. And as I stood there and I was comparing my journey with Renee's, someone who has been on the block 4 times, has been fighting for her life in this house in a very, very visible way, as opposed to my fight might not have been as visible, but was still apparent. In that moment, it's just so in my nature to want to try and take the bullet for people that I care about, that's what I said. Do I regret it? In a way, yes. But do I think it would have changed the outcome had I not said it? No. And I don't think that's the reason I wound up on that block. I think the reason is because Ty offered Claudia some sort of safety if she was to send me home in that moment.
Okay. In a perfect world, who would you have wanted to be in a final 2 with? Why?
Well, in a perfect world, if we're going way back to the start, I think being in a final 2 with JM would have been iconic. That man was a genius. He's an amazing player, huge fan of the show. But also me and Claudia had a final 2, and that kind of was my perfect world. It clearly didn't work out for me, but truly, playing this game and fighting by her side was empowering, and it was rewarding and challenging, and obviously didn't work out, but I don't see a world where that wouldn't have been the path that I chose.
All right. Is there anyone you place blame on for your eviction?
Ty. I don't even have to think about that question. I 100% put the blame on Ty, not in a negative way. Obviously, it was a game move, but he said to me verbatim that me using the veto during his HOH week really messed things up for him. And because of that, I just guess he didn't see a path forward with me in the house. So he leveraged maybe his alliance or allegiance with Claudia in that moment over her head to keep Renee over me.
Cool. Now that you're in the jury, what will you base your vote on when voting for the winner?
So I think what's most important is that a player who can prove that they're a well-rounded player. So, maybe they have a couple comp wins that might not be the end all and be all for me, but someone who can prove that they were making strategic moves, someone who proved they had sway in the house, who can prove they had good social and personal connections. And then on top of all that, somebody who showed good sportsmanship, or somebody who can attest to the fact that their game may not have been perfect, but they used their losses and they used the hardships and how they bettered their game because of it. I think somebody who can bring a confidence and who can honor their game, but also, show a little bit of humility as well.
Okay. Speaking of voting, with the information you currently know now, who are you most likely to vote for and who are you least likely to vote for?
Look, I hate to admit it, but I think I would have to vote for Ty. If he makes it to the end, his game has been phenomenal. He's been out here fighting since Dan left. He's been on his own. He's beasting these comps. It's annoying. I'd have to vote for Ty for sure. Least likely, I would say, unfortunately, would be my girl, Anika. I love her dearly, but I just think she needs to do a little bit more, or maybe just she'll bring it on her speech and show people how she's been making moves thus far.
Okay, well, this is my favorite part of the interviews. I'm going to play a little game with you. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to name the remaining cast members that are currently in the house.
Okay.
And I want you to give me one word you would associate with them. And please feel free to elaborate. Sound good?
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Okay, we'll start off with Anika.
Anika, I'm going to say Spitfire. Anika coming into this house, I did not expect her to be so sassy and fiery and hilarious. She's got the sassiest remarks. She is so blunt. She is 1 in a million. Truly blows me away sometimes, the remarks that she makes.
Okay. Next is Claudia.
Claudia, I'm gonna say, oh my gosh, there's so many words I could say. Most good. I'm gonna say determined, because she truly is determined to get to the end. Obviously last night shows that she's willing to do what it takes to get there. But throughout this whole game in this house, she has been by my side, supporting me. When I had doubts, she would be right up in there, proving me otherwise. So she's very, very determined.
All right. We're going to go with Daniel C.
Daniel C. Oh my gosh. I'm going to say it's going to be more than one word, but like the biggest bundle of love and joy and hilariousness all wrapped up into one human being. I adore that man. He is so kind, so caring, so genuine. He has an amazing story. I'm so proud of him for coming on this platform and sharing his true self. I just feel so lucky to have met Daniel.
Okay. And Renee.
Renee, I want to say perseverance. That girl has proven that she has the ability to persevere in the face of whatever obstacle comes her way, and not only persevere, but do it in such a positive and gracious light. She is so kind, and I really admire her ability to take hardship and spin it in a positive way.
All right. And last but not least, Ty.
Frickin' Ty, I'm gonna say unstoppable. That man is so good at everything. Who gave him the right to be good at everything? I'm not good at nothing, and he's just got all the skills. He blows me away. He is a great competitor. He is a great social player. He is, his mental abilities just to stay calm and stay focused and stay locked in, as he likes to say, are actually like take my breath away. That man is truly, truly unstoppable in so many more ways than one.
All right. And that's the end of our questions. So thank you so much for talking to us. And we will see you soon.
Okay, thank you.
Hi, thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Bye.